Right now, we're reacting to an awesome video entitled 7 Things You Missed in the Michael Trailer That Changes Everything by the folks out at MJ Forever. So let's check this out, watch, and we can react to it.
When the Michael teaser dropped, I broke down 5 things most people completely missed. And a lot of you told me it changed how you're
Big shout out to
expecting this
MJ
movie
Forever,
to be.
man. Great
Now
channel.
the full
Go give them
Michael
a
trailer
subscribe.
is finally here. And after watching it closely, I realized something. This trailer is hiding a lot more than people think. Not obvious moments, not nostalgia. There are 7 details in here that completely change what kind of movie this is going to be for fans, and even for people who don't know Michael's story that well. 1.
All right, now I'm a fan, and I'm skeptical already. So hopefully he'll be able to win me over. I have not watched this yet. I haven't checked this out. This is probably gonna be the first time for you guys checking this out as well. So let's see if he got stuff that would have stumped any of us on this.
The trailer starts at the end. In the beginning, the trailer doesn't open with young Michael or the Jackson 5. It opens with Michael Jackson at his peak during the Bad World Tour, walking alone in that sharp black look that instantly tells you this is...
Okay, I saw it. I didn't necessarily realize that that's what they were saying. But yeah, of course, trailers are spliced together all sorts of different ways. So yeah, this was definitely towards the end. It's not like Michael just, came upon this earth as a, 25 to 30-year-old man and was immediately the greatest entertainer of all time. Of course, they're giving you what you know of him, and then they flash back later on through the trailer of his young age and then seeing him progress through his teenage years, early 20s until fully formed bad Michael Jackson.
Prime Michael. At first, it feels like a simple, powerful visual, but it's actually very intentional. By starting here, the movie is telling you this isn't a story about how Michael became famous. It's about what it cost him to get there.
Now that I don't know if I agree with. I think this is going to deal a lot with what he, how he rose to fame, not like the cost of his fame. If anything, they end up doing a second movie. Maybe that second movie is going to deal with some of the costs of his fame, but I disagree with that part already. What do you guys think?
Everything that follows, his childhood, his family, the pressure, the fame, is framed through the eyes of someone who already reached the top and is carrying the weight of it. That one opening choice quietly sets the emotional direction for the entire film. 2. Yes, sir, says more than any dialogue. At around 0:23, the trailer cuts to Joe Jackson building the Jackson 5, and there's a detail most people don't really notice. The boys don't call him Dad, they call him Sir. That one choice tells you everything about how this family worked.
Okay, now that part is true. Like, I knew that. I knew that they called him that, and they asked, or I should say, Joe requested that they call him Joe. So he didn't want to know, he didn't want to be gone by as dad or anything like that. So yeah, when they say the sir, yes sir, no sir, that sort of thing is just a respect thing. Like, that's something that I was taught when I was younger. I still do it to this day, even with my kids. They ask me a question and I'm no ma'am, no sir. Like, those are the types of things that I do. But I think that this breakdown video is a little off base with the no sir part, in that Joe wanted to be known as Joe and not as dad or papa or pops or anything like that. So if you guys understand and know, let me know in the comments below if I'm right, or maybe I'm just making this stuff up. I know I'm not, but maybe I'm just making it up. What do you guys think?
Joe isn't shown as a cartoon villain, but he's also not shown as a loving father. He's presented as a manager first, someone running a system. Discipline, control, results. From a young age, Michael and his brothers are treated like professionals, not kids. And that matters, because it explains a lot about who Michael Jackson becomes later. This isn't just...
Now that part I do agree with. I think Joe did run them as an asset as opposed to children, but he also helped to drive them to the greatness that they were able to achieve. So you have to wonder sometimes. I don't necessarily agree with his parenting style. I don't follow his parenting style. I raise my children completely differently, but it does beg the question to be asked: if he hadn't done these things, would the Jackson 5 and then in turn Michael have been the superstars that they turned into be? Good question, huh? Answer in the comments below.
About strict parenting. It's about growing up inside a machine where love is conditional and performance is everything. The trailer quietly sets this up early, so when Michael later starts pulling away, it doesn't feel sudden or rebellious. It feels like it was always going to happen. This moment reframes the Jackson 5 story from a happy family success story into something much more complicated and controlled. 3. Quincy Jones wasn't controlling Michael. At around 0:40, we see Quincy Jones in the studio with Michael Jackson during the Off the Wall album recording session. On the surface, it looks like a simple studio moment, but the way it's framed is important. Quincy isn't giving orders or correcting Michael. He's celebrating with him. That's a big shift from everything we've seen before.
Yeah, that is different from the way Joe did it, but we also know that Quincy, as time went along, became more controlling of Michael. So like I said, these are all things that are like on the, if you didn't know any of the background and you just like broke down a trailer, these are things that you might be able to figure out just by watching the trailer. But as a person who has paid attention to Michael his entire career, or my entire life, not his entire career, but my entire life, and know a little bit about his background, there are certain things here that I can kind of disagree with, which is why I'm really glad that I decided to watch and react to this video specifically.
The first time in the trailer, Michael isn't being managed or pushed, he's being trusted. This moment quietly shows Quincy as the first adult in Michael's life who treated him like a creative equal, not a product. And that explains why Off the Wall feels so free compared to what came before. The success they celebrate together isn't just about hits or charts. It's about Michael finally realizing what happens when his ideas are taken seriously. This scene matters because it shows the start of Michael believing in himself, not just performing for someone else. A 4.
Okay, I can believe that too. It definitely was showing him learning to believe in himself and having someone who pushed him or who supported him as opposed to pushed him. So yeah, those are good things. But I have to disagree with a little bit because, as I said, and as everybody who's probably watching this video knows, if you're a super fan, you know how this relationship got a little bit tenuous at certain points.
The Jackson family is the brand. At around 0:58 in the trailer, we are taken to the Victory Tour era, which comes right after Michael's success with Thriller. This is when Joe Jackson says a line that explains a lot about what Michael was dealing with behind the scenes. He says, "We need to capitalize on Michael's success. The Jackson family is the brand."
Okay, now this is something that I also kind of disagree with. Now I know that Joe was controlling, as we talked about before. I know that he was not the best person, as we talked about before, but he was viewing the success of Michael in terms of the Jacksons together. So, he also has a responsibility to be successful. And this is like a positive, shining a positive light on his relationship with his sons. But you would also think that he has a responsibility to be positive he has a responsibility to garner and cultivate the success of his boys and not just Michael. So yes, Michael was successful. And in turn, Joe said, how can we turn this success for Michael into success for us as a whole? Not Michael just leaving the group. This was, Michael's been successful by himself. Now he's coming back to us. And, now we can all be successful again. And I understand that. Like I said, I don't agree with his ways, but I understand this particular line of thinking when it comes to trying to make the group, as in his family unit, as in the band, all successful and not just Michael, and capitalizing off Michael's success.
Surface, this sounds like a father talking about business and opportunity, but in reality, it shows how Michael was being viewed at that point in his life. His success was no longer just his own. It had become the foundation of a family business. Joe's focus is clear. He wants more tours, more albums, and more money, with everything depending on Michael. The trailer shows this.
See, I think that portrays Joe as this one-sided villain, and I don't think that that's it. I think it was very, very, very complicated. Don't support him or his tactics, but I think that their relationship was very, very complicated, and I think that this is just looking at it like a movie as opposed to how their real lives ended up going.
This moment to help us understand why Michael felt trapped. For Michael Jackson, success no longer felt exciting. It felt heavy. He was expected to carry everyone with him without being asked what he wanted. This is why his decision to leave the group later does not feel selfish or dramatic. It feels like the only way he could finally take control of his own life. 5. The
I do agree that that was, you know, how he wanted to take control and be his own person. And those things do happen at a certain point in time. So that's where it had to go back to Joe, and Joe had to realize like, hey, I need to let this aspect of the band or the group go, because Michael is obviously feeling as though he's stunted by the rest of the group. That's a tough decision to make as a person who's trying to cultivate the family group and not just Michael's success. So, like I said, man, Joe is complicated. Don't agree with everything, but I understand some of his thinking.
quiet decision that changed everything. Between 111 and 125, the trailer shows a moment that is very easy to overlook because it is so quiet. Michael says, "I need to think," and right after that, we see him alone in the studio. This is not a dramatic breakup scene or a big argument. That is what makes it important. The trailer shows Michael Jackson written ideas on a board, filling it with words, concepts, and plans. We even see his handwritten notes, which tells us this is coming from his own mind, not from someone else telling him what to do.
Now that part of this is cool, and that's something that I did notice as well, in that he was learning and he had these opportunities to express himself. And a lot of times I think that people think that these albums and music and stuff just comes together, like it's, you know, it's just bestowed upon them somehow, some way. Like, no, these things are meticulously planned out. And I think this just goes to show, you know, that thinking and that level of thinking that was behind everything that he did.
For the first time, he is not reacting to pressure from his family or expectations from the industry. He is thinking for himself. We also see Bill Bray with him, someone who acted like a protector and a father figure. When Bill tells him that he is not a little boy anymore, it feels like permission. This moment shows that Michael's move toward a solo career was not impulsive, it was thoughtful, planned, and deeply personal. 6. Peter Pan, Bubbles, and the first person who understood him. At around 1:34, the trailer shifts into a very quiet and emotional moment. We see Michael Jackson with Bubbles the chimp reading Peter Pan, while his mother, Katherine Jackson, says, "Many people see this scene and think it is simply about innocence or Michael wanting to stay a child, but the trailer is showing something deeper. This moment is about isolation. Michael is surrounded by fame, pressure, and expectations, yet emotionally, he feels separate from the world around him. Catherine's words matter because she is the first person in the trailer who does not talk about success, money, or performance. She talks
And that's also earlier in his life. So that's not in chronological order. That doesn't follow, you know, chronological order. So I think if you just took the trailer at like face value, you would see that, but like that's not following in chronological order.
about who Michael is. This scene is placed right before we see him working on Thriller and rising even higher, which makes it more powerful.
So yeah, you can say that scene with his mom was, you know, planting some of those seeds very early on, but that looked like teenage Michael as opposed to when he ended up doing the album, which was like early to mid 20s Michael.
Trailer is quietly saying that as Michael's fame grows, his sense of belonging becomes more fragile. 7. The moment fame physically hurts him. At around 1:56, the trailer reaches one of its most disturbing moments. We see the Pepsi accident, when Michael Jackson's hair catches fire during the commercial shoot, followed by images of him being rushed into an ambulance. Most people recognize this as a famous accident, but the way it's placed in the trailer is very intentional. This is the first time we see success actually injure him. Until now, fame has been emotional pressure, family conflict, and creative exhaustion. Here, it becomes physical pain. The trailer places this moment near the end to make a clear point. Everything Michael achieved came with real consequences. His body paid the price for the image the world wanted. Right after this, the
I don't know about that either, man. I don't know about that either. I think it's more so just chronological. What's the word? I think it's more so just breaking down how Michael's life went. Like this was an event that happened in his life. I don't think that it was as deep as this person is sort of making it seem.
trailer ends with a montage of his life and Michael's voice saying he wanted to spread joy and peace. That line hits differently after seeing him burned and broken. The trailer is quietly asking a question. How much can one person give before it destroys them? When you put all these moments together, the Michael trailer stops feeling like a highlight reel and starts feeling like a warning. This isn't just a movie about talent, success, or fame. It's about pressure, control, and the price of being extraordinary. And the fact that the trailer starts and ends with Michael at his peak tells you something important. This story isn't asking you to celebrate him, it's asking you to understand him. Whether you're a
See, completely don't agree with that. Completely don't agree with that. I think that this movie is a celebration of his life. That life that had ups and downs. It had all sorts of things in between. It had those peaks and those valleys. I think that that's what this is showing. That's what this trailer is supposed to show. That's what it's trying to invoke. I don't think that it's like some sort of cautionary tale over, don't wish for a crazy level of success because it comes with pitfalls. Yeah, we all know that. We know and understand that. But I don't think that that is what this trailer is going for at all. I don't think that that's what the movie is going to end up going for at all. It is explaining and breaking down all the good things that, or some of the good things that happened in his life and some of the bad things that happened in his life as you tell the story of him. I don't think that I think that sometimes when you, like I said before, when you get someone who isn't completely tied into the almost lore of Michael Jackson, the whole backstory, the entire history of Michael Jackson. You get someone who can look at a trailer and might be able to break down the thematic elements of the trailer, but they're missing out on real big context clues that people who are actual fans and not just a trailer breakdowner would be able to figure out. So needless to say, I think that this is a good breakdown. It does give you some food for thought, but me personally, I don't agree with a lot of the points on here. I'm glad that I watched this. Like, I'm glad that this is the first time that I saw it, because it's cool to get someone else's perspective on things that you see and that you watch and that you interact with. So as a person who runs a channel, it's cool to have an opportunity to see sort of a dissenting different type of view on things. But those are my opinions. I gave all of mine. What do you guys think? That's more important. Do you agree with the way this breakdown went? I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop those comments below, and just know that Watch Stuff with Us will be in the mix in 2026 and your place to be for the Michael movie. Please go check out the channel. I have tons of videos up on this already. Tons. And there are tons more coming. My name is JD, and I will see you when I see you. Peace and love.